Hello, I'm Kate Galt, and I'm a business coach. I have a company called Primal Leadership Business Coaching. In this video, I want to share with you who I am and how I work so that you can get an idea of how I can serve. I'll give you a little bit of background. I'm a certified coach, I'm a leadership trainer, and I have background in marketing, management, and sales. So when I go into an organization, I see the macro of the environment and I get down to the micro. When I'm called into an organization, the reason usually is that they're losing revenue or that there's a team dynamic that they need a little bit of help with, a third party who knows what they're doing with that kind of thing. From the micro point of view, if I'm coaching one-on-one with other executives, I am finding the inner patterns that don't serve them, that cause them stress. And what I use is the choice model, which helps them work in real time with these crazy nebulous ideas of what is emotional intelligence. What really is the pattern inside of me that is a blind spot? So I point out the blind spots that we don't see. And what I know from working with hundreds of people is that we all struggle internally. And so, since we all struggle internally, there's a language that we can share once we are aware of the inner dynamics. Now, what I do is point out a stress pattern. And then that stress pattern is something that each person in the organization can relate to. So say I'm the CEO and I have strong driver tendencies, which means that a lot of times I forget the person and I just go straight into the progress of the project. And so I steamroll right over my CFO, say. And say my CFO has the dynamic of a giver, and the CFO just wants to help me, but I'm here being rude, maybe making them wrong a lot, and the dynamic you see is strained. So when I bring in this information about what I call left brain thinking that narrows the focus when someone's stressed, that helps everybody in the organization start to say, hey, is your stress pattern up right now of the driver? And that helps me take a step back and say, oh, my impact, my influence, my motivation, my inspiration as a leader is dead. So I can't move forward with this anymore. So I've got to step way back. I can look at the choice model. Again, that framework that I use inside the companies, that choice model is pasted right next to the whiteboard with the specs or the goals and the more measurable things so that people can really understand how they show up as a choice. I don't want to get into too much detail. That tends to be my tendency. But what I do want to say is that I've been told I bring energy into a room, which I think is aligned with my value of vitality. I really love to have everything vital in my own life as well as in my client's life, if I can motivate, influence, and inspire them to be vital. What that brings is an eagerness to engage. It brings an openness and a non-judgmental place to learn how to be with other people. Because in an organization, whether you're the CEO or you're the factory worker, we all have, like I said, inner struggles, and we all have superpowers as well. So after the inner struggles are addressed, then the superpowers are the volumes turned up for those in each of the teammates that I work with. Then the purpose and vision and all of those things on what I call the right brain side of creativity, inspiration, the true leadership side, the side that actually has no ability for language, which we have to go over and translate it from our left side. That right side of our brain is how we lead with the best impact possible. So I go and I show people this is how that works. And the fun part is bringing that energy and watching each person wade into conflict. Because, sorry, but the number one dysfunction of a team is the absence of trust. We have to trust each other. But we have the perfect storm of all these competing agendas within an organization, right? We all know the sales and operations and the fighting that goes on there. But the HR and the executive team, we just have different agendas. I want something, you want something else. So it's difficult to be able to meet people where they are when we're creating something and we think we know best. I'll back up a little here and say, we all have our internal struggles. And the internal struggles come from these inner critics, right? The driver, the giver, the controller, the performer. All of these stress patterns add up. And the reason these stress patterns happen is because as humans, we're just constantly judging ourselves, other people, as well as the circumstances. So dynamics are deep and fluid, and I'm observing all of them. And what I notice is that usually there's a blend of somebody trying to rescue their direct reports or their boss. They're saying, oh, I don't like this report that you just gave me, so I'm going to fix it for you. I'm going to rescue you. And then we've got the victim dynamic, right? And it's easy to say, I'm not a victim. But the deeper that we look into, well, I actually do think sometimes this is happening to me, right? For instance, I watch in companies where people are like, well, they talk about them, whether that could be the lower hierarchy of workers or the lower hierarchy saying them and pointing up to the higher hierarchy above them, the middle management or the exec team. It's an us and them sometimes. In a nutshell, what I do is I open up the team dynamics so that people can start to have the benefit of the doubt to themselves. Like, man, I did the best I could on that project. To be honest about their leadership, I could have shown up better for that person, and to have the benefit of the doubt for everyone else in the organization. Like, oh, they weren't just out to get me. They were actually trying. Now, I consider myself a realistic optimist, right? I want to make sure that I'm balanced in seeing all the dynamics. Some people are out to get each other. I get it. And bad behavior, sussing it out. Bad behavior is yelling at people. Bad behavior is undermining people. Bad behavior is keeping information that could be really important. That's not acceptable. That's the realistic part, right? Noticing that. And then the optimistic part is we can move from our stress patterns over to focusing on our vision, to really grounding in what we want for the organization, and then working together to get it. If everyone has the choice model up on their wall in their office, there's an opening of conversations. There's a way to clear. There's a way to wade into conflict in a healthy way, in a vital way, and the whole culture changes. It takes time. It takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes focus. But it is the quintessential differentiator in businesses today. If your people from the bottom up have meaning and purpose in what they do, it's a lot easier to motivate, influence, and inspire. You're not just having them want the paycheck. There's a larger package when you offer this type of development. I've got a wonderful system in place and it gets great results. And I'd love to share more with you. So keep checking out my videos.